Hi folks, Robin here at Toadstool Tarot, and I have a deck to share with you today. It's called the Essential Tarot. I believe there are more than one deck called the Essential Tarot. This one is by Chloe Zarka Grinsnir. And while it's called the Essential Tarot, I'm not at all certain that it's essential. But the images intrigued me and the price was right, so I thought I would go ahead and purchase a copy. I think the retail's $24.95 on Amazon. It's currently on sale for around $20. It is published by Sterling Ethos. It comes in a really heavy, sturdy knocker of a box with a slip-on top that is very slippery and will slide right out of there from the weight if you're not careful. So you want to grab it by the bottom. There are thumb guides on the side in case you have trouble getting it out, but it's very slippery, so I don't think you will. It's a real thick box. It's very heavy cardboard. It's almost like wood. It's got a nice design on the inner lining of the box. It fits fairly snugly in the box and has a guidebook and a little paper band around the cards. The art style is interesting. I'm not certain what art style it is, but it reminds me of old-fashioned fairy tale and Mother Goose rhyme books for children. The guidebook has major arcana, minor arcana. The majors have little thumbnails with one-page description for each, upright and reversed. The minors have roughly 2 cards per page and no thumbnails, just one illustration for the suit. The backs of the cards are handsome. The card size is a little larger than average. I'd say between a quarter and half an inch taller and wider. I am not fond of this cardstock. It is kind of semi-gloss, but it's very thick. You can see this is quite a hefty deck. And it is card. It's not like playing card. It is thick card. I don't know. I don't riffle shuffle, but this looks like if you riffle shuffle it, you might bend or crease the cards. It's that thick. The art style, as I mentioned, looks like old-fashioned children's books. I don't know what style that art is, but it It makes me think of the words like French colonial, French provincial come to mind, but I could be completely off on that. I tried to dig a little bit online to find out what this style is called, and I couldn't find it. They do have black borders. The color palette is pleasing. The line work is delicate. The imagery is not too complex. It's broad areas of flat color. No, I wouldn't say there's shading to speak of in this deck. The font is legible. I wish I liked the cardstock better. I wish it was perhaps linen or more of a regular cardstock. I'm not sure if I will end up loving this deck or using it or not, but the images I saw intrigued me enough for the price to just grab a copy and have a walkthrough and consider it, take a gamble on it. It is pretty artwork and a nice color palette. Also has, it feels to me, if you work with decks seasonally, for some reason this has a summery feel to me. There are lots of yellows and oranges in it, and the blues are cool and refreshing. And if you're nostalgic about old children's books, this may have a great appeal to you. I should say this is a pip deck, so people who don't read pip decks may have trouble. If you've got your RWS illustrations memorized, you shouldn't have trouble reading it. Not that the imagery follows RWS, but the labeling is clear enough, and there are some hints in some of the cards that may help you. I actually had opened it before this walkthrough, and when I did, I discovered the entire deck is in a very peculiar order. So I reordered it so all the cards were together. It was out of sequence, and I think even the suits were, I think it was like the aces of each of the four suits were together and the twos were together and so on. but they weren't in numerical order. I don't know if that's something that bothers you, but I mean, they can be quickly reordered upon opening. Well, here's what I mean by colonial or provincial. Sort of like, it reminds me a little bit of like Little Lord Fauntleroy or something. I'd say if you like pre-Raphaelite images or Art Deco or golden illustration, golden age of illustration, these might appeal to you. Here's the charity card. So you can see the way the symbols are organized. Some of them might remind you of the RWS. Here you've got a scale of balance or fairness, a handout to give or receive items. Fairly traditional. The Seven of Pentacles, sort of the gardener. The Eight is the worker, and you have a tool there, sort of a hammer. I've cut way back on my purchasing of decks, so this is the first one I've bought in a while. It's not exactly like I'm in a no-buy zone, but I am being a little bit more discriminating or particular about the decks that I buy. Even so, I don't know if this is one I will hold on to, but it looks interesting to me for now. I love this king. He looks sort of like a Parisian dandy from like the 1920s. I don't know, anywhere from the late 1800s to early 1900s. Actually, sort of makes me think of Great Gatsby a little bit too. There you have the Six of Swords, the traditional ship crossing the water with six swords. I don't know if you can see, they have the numbers on the tops of the cards in the color field, and the names of the suits at the bottom, which may make it a little bit harder to read on the darker cards, but the number of the elements in the suits is easy to count. The colors are bright, but I would say not bold. They're sort of soft or muted bright colors. So all in all, I think it's a very pretty deck. It's a little bit of a handful to shuffle overhand. I don't usually like large cards, and these are just a hair larger than normal. Here I've drawn Judgment and the World. I'll give you a third card, the Sun. So yeah, I didn't shuffle them very well, but that'll give you a little bit of an idea about this deck. And there's nothing particularly unusual about the guide. Just simple explanation. One page about the tarot, an introduction, and then it goes right into the interpretations of each card. It's quite a snug fit, the cards in the box. So there you have it. Thanks for stopping by and having a look at these with me. See you all soon.